Hey there, aspiring guitarist. Let me get my glasses off. It's just hard to get that reflection away. Um, that might make it better if I put them back on in a minute. Um, I've got an interesting video, I think, today. I'm whittling down my guitar collection. Okay, bear with me just for a second and I'll get to it. I've talked many times about how blessed I am to have been able to use all these guitars I have, and I have over 30 guitars that have helped me from the time I started getting the ability to use my hands and stretch them again from a Dupuytren contracture. You can see the cartilage that runs from my ring finger all the way down. This is also known as Viking disease. Um, and that's what I'm going to tell you is not the point of this video. I'm not your medical doctor. Go talk to your medical doctor. I'm 63 now. When I turned 57, I had stopped playing guitar. I had to get rid of my guitars, my Ovations, my Martins. And I gave them to my middle son, who is, all my sons are musically inclined, all three. He was the one that took to guitar the most. Although now I've got all three of them kind of interested in going back into guitar, and I'm teaching them again and their families, so grandsons, granddaughters. It's a wonderful thing. So when I finally got back to where this started getting better, and the reason it got better, just bear with me. I had options. The doctor told me that it could be splintered through surgery, so the cartilage would be splintered open, then sewed back up, and that would give me mobility again. And I couldn't even make a C chord. My hand was so gnarled, when I put it down on a flat surface, it stuck up. Now I can lay it down flat. But this is what I did. Now, I understand that they've got a pill or something, and that is not where I'm going. I'm trying to explain to you why I have this guitar collection and my reasoning for how I'm going to whittle this down and why I'm going to whittle this down. So, what he suggested to me, and I am not in any way telling you to do this, talk to your doctor if you have a Dupuytren contracture. He suggested he asked me if I ate a lot of bread. And I did. Even as a diabetic, I would eat the bread, and if I had a carb spike, I would compensate with insulin. I'm not going there either. That's just me. You talk to your doctor about you. This is not medical advice, and I'm just sad that we live in a world where we have to make all these disclaimers for what I call common sense. Look into something before you listen to what everybody on the internet says. Because remember, Abraham Lincoln said, you can't trust everything you hear on the internet. I hope that sunk in that Abraham Lincoln is long dead. You just can't believe everything you hear. You got to do some research. Even when I tell you something, there's nothing I say about guitar that's 100%. This is an individual guitar journey for everyone. But my doctor told me, he said, just try cutting back on gluten because it's inflammatory. If you start in the comments about that, I'll delete them. That is not what this is about. It worked for me. So, a little over a year ago, I started cutting back on bread drastically. And then I started slowly, shakily to where I could go from. Now, I still have a trigger finger here on the actual finger. It'll lock up sometime. But I went from a gnarled hand that shook like that to being able to spread it out and play guitar again. It was a blessing. It brought back something to me that was always a blessing, even though it took a back seat to life, business, taking care of relatives, parents with cancer, Alzheimer, all the things. I don't need you to feel sorry for me. We all go through things, and thank God we have people that help us and do things like that. So I felt blessed that I was finally at a point in my life. I called my son Justin up. I said, I want to buy back the ovation, just the ovation. He said, Dad, you gave it to me. I said, I don't care. I need to put skin in the game. I need to be vested in this. I got back the ovation. I finally started being able to play it a little bit, but it just didn't feel quite right. So I went through a process knowing that I wanted to get back to teaching, that I wanted my granddaughters to learn. Then my wife wanted to learn again, and then this spawned into something that was just a total blessing for me. So I started buying guitars. Now I always looked for a deal, and I always got a deal. And by a deal, I didn't wrangle people down. That's not what I meant by a deal. I have mixed emotions about that. I know how people are. We have a human nature. We want to hoodoo one another. Well, I'll give you $10. Well, would you take 9? How about 8? How about 7? How about that? I get all that. I know some of us, we can't even recognize a steal of a deal. We have to feel like we haggled somebody down. Okay, whatever. That drives me crazy, but it's human nature. It's human nature. There's all kind of things about human nature, and they apply to guitar too. Everything is somebody else's fault. That's a human nature thing that, I'm still trying to get a hold of with the help of the good Lord. So, at any rate, I started buying guitars. And I had several of them for my granddaughters and my sons to choose and pick from, knowing that they were also helping me to figure out what nut width I wanted, what scale length I liked, what type of body shape I wanted, all the things y'all have heard me talk about. So, enough of that. Sorry that took so long, but it was needed to get into this. I am now whittling down my guitar collection. Why? I'm a firm believer that guitars, and this is just my belief, it's my belief that they're to be played. The guitars you see hanging up here, I play. If I don't do anything but walk around every day, pick it up off the rack or the floor, and I got more in my guest bedroom where you've seen me do some other videos. I have a lot of guitars, and I've explained to y'all, if you come at me and throw a judgment at me, I'm going to ignore it. I'm also going to think in my brain about that over $100,000 boat you got in your driveway when you're griping at me about a lot less than guitars. But anyway, let's move on. So I'm whittling this down, and I used to say that the guitar, I'm not going to keep a guitar if it's not unique. And unique for me filled many definitions. Is it a nylon? Is it an electric? Is it an acoustic? Is it a 12-string? Because and I enjoy playing different types of guitars. I'm mostly an acoustic guy. Now, you may not think that down here, looking at all those electrics over here, but in my guest bedroom, which is near where I go to bed, it's full of acoustics. Full of acoustics. So, I'm whittling down what I like to play, what I always love to play, and what I really don't care for. So, uniqueness is one thing. To have a Gibson Les Paul standard, that I try not to be a guitar snob, but I got to tell you, I've got a Gibson Les Paul standard I'm going to show you right here that cost over $3,000, and it's a jewel. But I've got 2 other guitars beside them too, and we're going to talk about which of the 3 guitars. I've got one Gibson Les Paul. Let me just get out of the way. That is an Epiphone Adam Jones art collection. It sounds great. It's very heavy. It's a collector's item. It's beautiful. It came with a great hard shell case, the black one that's standing up. This guitar can be had for different prices, but it's a little over $1,000 because it's a collectible. Does it play good? It plays great. It's got some great appointments. Now, this guitar is over $3,000. It's a Gibson Les Paul Studio Blueberry Burst. It is just a phenomenal guitar. It's actually not as heavy as the Epiphone Adam Jones. Different pickups, you can see, different appointments, different styles. It plays magnificent. It just does. Plays very well. I love the Gibson scale. I've always loved the Gibson scale. I remember when I first got this, how excited I was to actually have a true Gibson Les Paul instead of just a copy. Now, you can see the case, the brownish case with the Gibson. It's luscious. Beautiful red interior. This is a great guitar. This is an Epiphone. It's the junior model Les Paul. The junior models only have 2 knobs down here and the 3-way switch is down on the bottom. You can find lots of people that make it. It's an Epiphone. It says Les Paul Special. This guitar I got on a deal for about $149. It's light. It plays well. The humbuckers that are in there are very hot. I like them. Did I say it was light? Okay, the case that came with this doesn't exist because it didn't come with one. So here I am. I've got the Epiphone, about $149. I've got the Blueberry Burst Les Paul Standard that around $3,000. I've seen it a little over. I've seen it a little bit under. I've got the Adam Jones Epiphone Special Art Collection, and it's actually by Mark Ryden. Adam Jones is the guitarist. Mark Ryden is the artist that was commissioned to do these. And I also did a video about why I like that. It's got a honeybee on it, but my high school mascot was a yellow jacket. That's about as close as I can get. And my high school colors were black and gold. And my high school doesn't exist anymore. It burned to the ground. So, and there's not, they didn't even rename it somewhere else. The school had shut down from blight a long time ago. So, you know, I didn't have an alma mater to go to. So that has some meaning to me. Not to mention, it's a beautiful guitar. I'm keeping this. It plays well. It is heavy. But I can put a strap on it if I ever had to use it. But it has some meaning. And I'm not one of these that tries to relive my glory days in high school. High school was what it was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the people, but I moved on. You know, it's got some great memories, but this does have some meaning to me with nostalgia. So I'm keeping that. Is that right? Is that wrong? No, it's my choice. I mean, whatever choice you make if you were in this situation would be your choice. So here's the Gibson Les Paul Standard. It was a new set, came out just recently because they came out with some new colors. It's got some wonderful appointments. But what are appointments? Appointments are all the binding, the pots, the type of bridge, the type of pickups, the nut. You know, this is quality all the way. It is, and you can feel it. I mean, is that Gibson Les Paul worth the $3,000 price tag? In my view, it is. It really is. It's a great guitar. It truly is. And I finally scratched that itch. You know, I had, back in high school when I was in a folk group and a gospel group, I had the Ibanez Black Beauty Les Paul copy. Now, if you do a little research on that, you'll find there was a bunch of them, but I actually had the model number that was involved in the Gibson Ibanez lawsuit because it was so close to a Les Paul. And it was a beautiful guitar and it played great. I had a big giant Fender Super Twin Reverb, 4 10-inch speakers that would blow you out of the room if you turned it on. It was a fun time as a teenager. So anyway, that's the Les Paul. And then here's the $149 Les Paul Special Junior model from Epiphone. Now, guys, I really like Epiphone. I told you, if you watch my videos, an acoustic Epiphone when I was 13 years old was the first good guitar that I ever got, and I saved up to get it, and it meant a ton to me. I have a lot of Epiphones. I like Epiphones. I don't consider Epiphone a red-headed stepchild of Gibson. I have an Epiphone Casino that I love. I love the Beatles. Remember, the Casino is an Epiphone creation. And do a little history on Epiphone and Gibson, and you'll see I think they married together pretty well. I think Fender and Squier do. I think a lot of people get into justifying having one or the other. Well, you know what? You know what I'm going to say. Play what makes you happy. So I've already told you I'm going to keep the Adam Jones. Which one of these two left am I going to get rid of? Well, I can tell you what it is. I'm going to get rid of the expensive Les Paul. Okay, I know. You think I'm crazy. Why? I scratched the itch to get the Les Paul. Was it worth it? Yes, it was. Do I need that $3,000 Les Paul? I do not. And for me, keeping a guitar, not right or wrong, this is just me. I'm explaining to you why I'm whittling down my collection, and one of many reasonings that I use to do so. I don't perform anymore. Now, I have some future things where, you know, I may do some worship guitar with a friend of mine. Now, I do invite people over to play. That's fun. I'm a little scared of taking the $3,000 Les Paul out in the back on the patio in the woods and everything. Just should I fit? I believe guitars should be played. It plays well, but I got to be honest with you. For me, it does not play as well as the $149 Epiphone Junior model. It just doesn't. Can you argue that? Well, you can argue anything you want in the entire world, especially on guitars. Guitars are so individual to the person playing them and what they are playing it for. Now remember, you can have all kind of pickups in a Les Paul. That's part of the appeal of electric guitars. You can get different sounds, you can do different things. I'm an acoustic guy. Do I like my electrics? Yeah. I love the sound of electrics. I love the different type of pickups. I'll tell you, and let me show you another guitar. I have a lot of Strats. Now, one of the things that is appealing about the Stratocaster body style, which you can put different pickups in them. This is an SSS, single coil, single coil, single coil. I have HSS, I have HSH, I have all kinds. It's one of the things that's so appealing about a Strat. The 5-way switch is appealing about a Strat. This is the only Strat I want, and I have a bunch of them. This is a Kenny Wayne Shepherd, who in my view is a great blues guitarist. But this is different than a lot of your typical Fender Strats. The neck is different, the radius is different, the scale is different. It is nitrocellulose, it has the binding. It's different. So this is going to be my Strat. I might keep one Squire. This one is light. I have Strats that weigh pushing 9 pounds. This one's a little over 7. Now, I have a video where I talked about don't knock a heavy guitar. I'm almost ready to take that video back, which is just a testament to how we change. The more we play guitar, not always. If you've only got one guitar to play, well, you may not be subject to change. I had 30 guitars to play. My feelings about the guitar from the time I first got back to playing and the guitar that I started out playing that felt the best of me when I was first still trying to stretch my fingers out was a Fender Mustang. 7.5 radius, small scale. It was, because I couldn't open my fingers up, it fit great. About 3 months in, and my hand getting better, strengthening, exercises, playing more, doing things like that, I got to where I didn't quite like that anymore. And I traded the Mustang in part for that Les Paul right there. So, did the Mustang, so was that a wasted guitar purchase? Well, to some of y'all it might be. It wasn't to me. Because it helped me to get back to playing, to get back to something I love, which goes into another part of what I'm talking about. What are you using the guitar for? Or are you just a collector? If you're a collector, that's your business. There are collector videos, guitar acquisition syndrome, guitar addiction syndrome. That's your business. Yet you've heard me say that if you collect guitars, that's your business. I would hope you're not taking away from your family. I would hope you're not turning the guitars like we do so many other things into little gods that manipulate our life. And I hope you're thankful for them, but it's your business. Your business. It's your guitar journey. People can beat up on me for the decisions I make. That what other people think of me is none of my business. But playability, and if I'm going to actually play the guitar, goes a long way in these decisions I'm going to be making to whittle down my guitar collection. So what am I going to do with that beautiful blueberry Les Paul? That's probably the end of this. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to sell it or trade it in. Am I going to do it right now? Oh, heck no. In my view, right now is the worst time in the world to buy a guitar. But I'm not a depressed seller. I'm not a motivated seller. I've got, thankfully, and I feel blessed, I have time on my side. I'm not real big about listing in online places. I have some of my guitars listed on Sweetwater under their gear exchange, but I've got them listed local pickup only. I'm not shipping guitars. I'm not going to do it. You can argue that all you want. Lots of people ship guitars. They do great. I still have the boxes of the guitars that I bought from Sweetwater. I still have the packaging that went around the second box inside. So I would feel safe shipping a guitar, but I don't want the hassle. I don't want the hassle of somebody up and going, well, I just don't like the way this feels. Well, I think it's great. It's one of the pluses of Sweetwater and some of these other places that will let you return a guitar. And they kind of should. If you're going to buy a guitar sight unseen, without being able. Now, that's not a good term, sight unseen. For instance, Sweetwater does a great job of giving you the individual pictures with multiple angles of the serialized number of the guitar you're going to buy. If you will add to it the specs, the nut width, the scale, the radius, all the other things, you can make an intelligent purchase about buying a guitar online. But they're a company that does this daily. They have got shipping and returns down to a science. That's not me. When I sell a guitar or trade in, it's going to be local. I'll list it on Sweetwater, and they encourage that. I may list it on some places here locally where I live in the Birmingham area, but I'm pretty good with wording. I know I offend some people with my matter of factness, and I can't help it. I am what I am. But I have things in my local listings like, I will respond to messages on Sunday afternoon only. They can just keep, well, I'm not going to, that's not my problem. No, I gave you my criteria. So, I do things like, I will meet you at my local police department safe exchange area only. That's not for debate. And people will find out right quick, I won't debate, I'll hang up. My time is as valuable as anyone else's time. I don't pull punches. I don't hide stuff. Now, does that keep me from making a guitar sale? You darn right it does. A lot of people want to feel like they dominated the other person all the way up to where the money exchanged. Sorry, I'm willing to negotiate with somebody on some things, but that's just not my cup of tea. Now, you can argue that. I'm not going to disagree with you because what you do is your business. Just like when I constantly say on my guitar channel, it's your guitar journey. Play the guitar the way you want to play it. Learn the way you need. You'll find out different things. Things will change. I'm trying to be here to help. So I'm going to sell this guitar, but I'm probably going to wait until the upcoming holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm not going to sell a $3,000 guitar in mint condition that's been kept in a case, opened up, played every day, hardly ever goes out of tune. I mean, ever. But I play it every day. I keep the humidity right. You're not going to get this from me for $2,000. It's not going to happen. We're not even going to talk. So, am I willing to take less than I paid? Well, it depends. I have. I've got some listings on Sweetwater right now that are much less than I paid, but they're guitars that I bought to offer to my granddaughters, grandson, and sons for birthday presents and for us to get back, and they served their purpose, and I moved on. So, to conclude this, I know a lot of people don't have a collection like this, and some people collect that they're just trying to become like Joe Bonamassa, who has Nerdville and all that, and more power to him. I get a kick out of watching his videos and seeing, what all he's got. Rick Nelson as another video that, this guy's got an unbelievable vintage guitar collection. So I'm not knocking vintage guitars. I'm not knocking high-end guitars. I'm not knocking anything like that. My journey, it changes. And it's a journey that I thank the good Lord I was able to embark on. And this was a hobby. And now I'm probably going to whittle down an over 30 guitar collection to about 5 guitars. And I'll share this with you on the process. So I just wanted to bring a video showing some thoughts that went through my mind that may be totally to you, and I get it. But my emphasis goes back to, do I need this guitar? Is it a guitar I pick up and enjoy playing every day? Is it a guitar that I come back to? I have right now between 5 and 10 guitars that I just feel like I can't get rid of. But I want to whittle it down to about 5. And that's for my own sake, because I enjoy playing about 5 guitars, and they're different guitars. Will I have a replica of anything? I might. This is something that changes. I told you how it changed from a Mustang that I could barely make a C chord again to playing big 2-inch nut width nylons that I like too. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm not going to do a live on my Gibson LOO. I'm actually composing the video this weekend, so that'll come out this weekend or the very first of next week. Remember, we're taking the iconic acoustic LOO guitar that was built in the Depression era, and I've talked a little bit about it. I've got a short about it, but you're going to see the differences between the very high-end Gibson and the more affordable Epiphone, and why they're both great choices. So that's to come. Anyway, I hope your guitar journey is blessed, and most of all, hey,